Hello folks, today I want to show you how you can create a drivable rover from the Kitbash Minevra set in Unreal Engine. The problem is that the assets from the set is just a mesh with no vehicle functions in Unreal. So in order to have a drivable model we added the mesh in Blender, import it into Unreal Engine and create a vehicle with the new Chaos Vehicle plugin. We will be using the standard vehicle template in Unreal, so we don't need to create a complicated blueprint. So in the beginning I want to show you where you can get the assets. It's from the Kitbash 3D website where they host the challenge. And right there you can purchase it for free on this page and download them at your account page. You want to select the Mission to Minerva kit and choose the 3D software. In this case it's Blender, and the render engine is native, and we choose a resolution of 2K and files and textures. You can hit download it. Also there was a problem that the texture files are not loaded, so you can load the textures separately. So at first I want to open the Blender project from the Minevra set. So in Blender I go into Open and select the Minevra set, the blend file. So inside the project you have all the files from the Kitbash set. So there are some towers, some roads, all of those stuff. For us interesting is the rover. But at first I want to enable for you the screencast key so you can look what I am doing. It's right here. So I'm selecting some part of the vehicle, get into closer with the comma key on the numpad, and with Shift C I can select all parts. Just drag over all the mesh and I have selected them all. And this collection I want to move to a new collection. This selection I want to move to a new collection now. So I hit M and move to new collection, and I call this one rover. Then I can save the project and start with a new blend file, because I want to import this model into a new blend file. So File, New, General. The first thing you want to do in this new blend file is setting the scale, because Unreal has some import problems when it's just set with the default scaling values. So it's metrics, and you need to set the scale to 0.01. But now you have the problem that the grid is so wide, and to fix that you can go to the top bar and select this overlay and set the scale here to 0.01 as well. Perfect. So now the grid is matching, but if I import the model it will be quite large and the camera can't render it. So you can go onto View and set both values times 100. So you don't have some clipping issues. Then I want to import the model. So I go into Append, File Append. I have the project saved under the Downloads folder. Select the blend file, then there is a collection with the rover, so I go under Collection and select the rover collection and hit Append. Now it needs to take some time either. Also, oh no, it's instantly there. Sorry. So to move this rover to the center, you can check out the empty and hit Alt G. Now I want to select a part of the body, like this base, and I hit N and inspect it with the item here. And you see that the scale is very small. We need to scale it by 100. So I'm selecting the base empty and hit S First I want to delete all the other stuff. Camera. So I'm selecting base empty and hit S100. So now if I select the body, you can see it has a width of 4.15 meter, which should match for a space rover. Then I want to delete all the stuff in the back, because at first I want to make a rover without a trailer, because it's more easy. Maybe in the future I do another tutorial with the rover trailer. So I go into the side view with numpad 1, hit Shift Z to go into the X-ray mode, and then I can draw a box select with all the parts. And now it's selected also the base of the front vehicle, and I can go with C into the circle select and hit middle mouse button to unselect. And now I want to delete all the parts of the trailer. You can see here that there's a mesh in the back. To delete it, we go into edit mode, select the body part, go into edit mode and hit L and delete faces. So this is now missing. Perfect. One thing you need to keep in mind is that the vehicle for Unreal Engine need to face towards the x-axis. You can see in this gizmo the x values go up here. So we want to rotate the model by 180 degrees. So I hit R and enter 180. Now R, select the Z-axis and 180. So now it's facing towards the x-axis. So now I want to clear the parent of all parts. So with A I select all parts, hit Alt P and clear parent and keep transformation. The next thing I want to do is have one main body, and to do so I hide at first the wheels, select them all and hit H, and also I don't need this empty anymore, so I delete this one. So, and now to join all those parts to one part, you can use a shortcut which is Ctrl J. So select two parts and hit Ctrl J. You can see now it's one part and it's a very fast union operation. Ctrl J. Also you can do this in the outline, so select two parts, Ctrl J. Maybe there's also possible to do it with more parts. Yes, it is. So now I have one part. I hit Alt H to get my tires back. And now I want to edit the tires. The origin for wheels must be at the center on the inner side of the wheel. To do so, we go into edit mode with the wheel selected. Go into vertice mode up here or hit 1, select the vertice. And then with Shift S, you can go, if you have a pie menu enabled, go to cursor to selected, go back to object mode, and under object set origin, you can set origin to 3D cursor. Also there's a possibility with pie menus, you could set cursor, hit Shift S, cursor to selected, and then object, set origin to 3D cursor. So now all the wheels have their origin at the inner part of the wheel. After that, I unhide all meshes with Alt H and the body spec. And now I want to apply the rotation to all objects and the scale. Because here you can see the scale values is to set to 100, because we scaled it by 100. So I hit A, then to select all meshes and then Control A and apply rotation and scale. So now you can see the rotation value reset for all meshes. After that, I want to parent the wheels to the main body. So I'm selecting all wheels and then the body and hit Control P and object keep transform. So now the wheels are parented to the main body. It's good for Unreal Engine to have the wheels named or with right labels. Now it's like KB3D something, and for this I just use some shortcuts. Like for the front right wheel, I just enter FR, BR for back right, and BR for back left. And the main body I will just name to body. And maybe I'm setting the origin to the bottom here. So I don't know if Unreal Engine has some physics problems if the origin is at the front. So I'm going to edit mode and there must be some vertices down there, I guess. Yeah, I think I take this one, then Shift S, cursor to selected. Then I'm also now setting the cursor position to 0 Y value, so it's at the center. The whole model is not. Okay, so I go into bottom view, right there, and set the origin to the cursor. Okay, perfect. I save the project, rover.plan, and then I also want to export it as an FBX files. So I select all objects, then File, Export, FBX, and then only selected objects. The rest of the values are good, and then I can hit Export of FBX. One thing to keep in mind is the size of the wheels, because later on you need them in Unreal Engine for a wheel blueprint. So remember, the wheel width is 2.2 meters, and the wheel width is 1.2 meters, and the diameter is 2.2 meters. So radius of 1.1 meter. And also, if you enable the render view, you can see that the model has no textures. And to fix that, because here was the problem that it didn't download the textures, and to fix that you can go under external data, find missing files, and maybe under the KBT textures folder are some textures, but not in mine. So I downloaded the textures separately, and there are they, and I can just hit find missing files. So now the model has textures as well. So I'm selecting everything again, and File, Export FBX, Rover FBX. And I save this file and can close this one. So in Unreal Engine we want now to create a new project. So under File, New Project, you can choose the vehicle template, and I call this one Rover Blender Import Create. We are choosing the vehicle template because with this one it's so easy to create a drivable car, because it has already some cars in it we can modify. So you can check out the project. You have a roadmap, and you can hit play, and you can see you can drive a little car around, which can also brakes and drive in reverse. So now we have a look how this car is constructed, or what components do we need. So the first thing, I want to check out the pawn. The pawn is the thing you can use to control the car. So under vehicle template, blueprints, sports car, there is the pawn class. And also there are some blueprints for the wheels, so there are some informations about the wheel sizes and some physical properties. And the other thing we want to check out at first, which we need for a drivable car, is the animation asset. This one you can find under vehicles and sports car. And here you can see an animation blueprint. These nodes, we need these nodes later on the process. So the first thing we want to do now is to import the rover we previously created in Blender. So I go to the content folder and create a new folder, and I call this one rover. And I open it. Then I can import an FBX file. So go into add and import. And from there I'm selecting the blend file. Add blend file with the rover. So I can import it with add, import, go to downloads where I saved the Blender project, and there I can select the rover FBX file. Important here is to enable skeletal mesh, because this one is needed for a vehicle in Unreal Engine. And then I can hit import all. So now I have the materials imported, and if you scroll down to the bottom, you can see also some physics assets, a skeletal mesh and a skeleton. And the first thing we want to do is check out the physics asset and setting up the colliders for the body and the wheels. So with double click you can open this asset, and there you can see they generated some capsule colliders. If you have no colliders here, you have some problems with your export. Maybe the scaling settings in Blender are wrong, but normally it should look like this. Then we can select on bodies here and select to the primitive type we want. There is the single convex hull, and then we generate bodies. And now you can hit simulate up here, and you can see the physics asset is doing something. Then I want to save this. So now we set it up to colliders, and now I want to edit the wheel blueprint. So like I said, I don't want to do everything from the beginning. So I use the blueprint from the sports car. You can find it under vehicle templates, blueprints, and then sports car. And in the moment I copy all of them to the rover. So I'm selecting all 4 of them, hit Ctrl C, go to the rover folder, and there I hit paste. That doesn't did anything. I'm selecting all of them. You can also do a drag and drop, and I say copy here. Okay, now they're there. The first thing I want to do is to rename all to rover wheel, so I don't get confused. So this one is rover wheel front. This will be the rover pawn, and this will be the rover wheels back area. So now I open the rover wheels front, and beforehand we checked the scale of the wheels or the size of the wheels in Blender, and we found out that the wheel diameter is 220 centimeters or 2.2 meters. And here, right here, we need a radius, so we enter 110. And also the wheel width was 120 centimeters. It's a quite large vehicle in comparison to the sports car. Hit compile and save, and I can close wheels front and do the same thing for the wheels rear. So wheel radius is 110 centimeters and wheel width is 120. Can close this, and now we finished the wheel blueprints. The next thing I want to do is to set up the animation blueprint. So under vehicles, sports car, you can see that there was the animation blueprint, and I open this one. We can't copy it directly, but I want to copy these nodes. So I select them all and hit Ctrl V. For the rover, I create a new animation blueprint. To do so, hit right click, animation, and select animation blueprint. There you need to select the rover skeleton and also the vehicle animation instance, so you can use all nodes for vehicles. Hit create, and I call this rover vehicle blueprint, animation blueprint. Open this one, and I can paste the nodes here. Connect them to the output pose, hit compile, it runs, and then you can hit save. Now we have now we imported the module, created wheel blueprints and also the animation blueprint, and now we can edit the pawn. So we open the pawn class, blueprint class, and there you can open the viewport and see that there's the mesh from the sports car, and to have the mesh from the rover we can set it under the mesh object, and there you can select the skeletal mesh, and in here I want to select the rover. So now we have a rover. Right at the moment it has no animation blueprint. To set it we can use the under the animation group you can select the animation class, and here we want to select the select our previously created rover vehicle animation blueprint. So now we set the animation blueprint and the mesh, and the next thing we want to do is set the wheels. So you can open the wheel movement component, and there's a wheel setup group, and in here there are 4 area elements for each wheel. So right now the wheel class is the sports car wheel front, but I want to use our rover class. So we search for rover and choose rover wheels front. I do this for all wheels. So here also rover wheels front. Then rover wheels rear. And remember that in Blender we renamed the wheels to front left, front right, back left, back right, because and now we want to use the same names for the bone names. So instead of physics wheel front left, I just use front left, front right, back left, and back right. Now we can test our vehicle. Maybe at first just set the camera a little bit higher so we can see more. There's a spring arm. I will set the length a little bit further away. And can I use? Yes, I can move the camera. And now we should see the whole rover, I think. So now if I hit play, like before, there's only the sports car pawn. To use the rover pawn, you can click this node icon up here, and then under game mode, select pawn. We can select the pawn class of the rover. So here I select rover pawn. And then when I hit play, you can see I can drive the rover with the WASD keys, even can brake. And you can see I can drive around the track. So if you like this content, leave a like and comment any questions you have. For future content, I want to create a vehicle take recorder tutorial, so you can use it in a cinematic sequence, even render it out. So if you like this, you can leave a subscribe.